Kremlin says Finland joining NATO is, definitely, a threat to Russia.
Here's a summary of the article.
Sputnik, Sergei Gunev, Kremlin via Reuters. Register now for free unlimited access to Reuters.com. London, May 12. The Kremlin said on Thursday that Finland's move to join NATO was definitely a threat to Russia and that the expansion of the military bloc would not make Europe or the world more stable. Speaking to reporters on a conference call, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the steps taken by Finland to join NATO were a cause for regret and a reason to impose a symmetrical response. Register now for free unlimited access to Reuters.com. Asked whether this presented a threat to Russia, Peskov said, "Definitely. NATO expansion does not make our continent more stable and secure." He said Finland had joined unfriendly steps against Russia. Asked what form Russia's response would take, he replied, "Everything will depend on how this expansion process of NATO expansion plays out, the extent to which military infrastructure moves closer to our borders." Before Russia's February 24 invasion of Ukraine, Finland had since World War II maintained a policy of neutrality regarding Russia, with which it shares a 1,340 km border. The country is now likely to join NATO this year, alongside its neighbor Sweden, another traditionally neutral power that had refrained from joining the US-led alliance.
This post received a score of 24,000, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Currently Russia is definitely a threat to Finland.
Currently Russia is definitely a threat to Russia.
If Russia is losing most of its valuable assets playing grab-ace with Ukraine, how can they think they have the resources to be a threat to anyone, aside from nuclear? Or is that the game now, to play NK?
Bingo. Russia not even being able to hold ground in Ukraine makes it very dangerous to be Putin right now. Everyone is rallying together and now also realizing that Russian military is a failure.
At this point the reaction seems to be, what you gonna do, send a bunch of 18-year-olds at us with tanks that were obsolete when their dads were doing their mandatory year? I'll get the tactors ready. I remember doing fallout drills in school because Russia was such a threat. They have better either maintain their nuclear arsenal or if they haven't hope that word never gets out that it's in much the same state the rest of their equipment is in because that's all they got now. Everything else about their military has been embarrassing recently.
Yeah, and Finland not joining is a threat to Finland.
Russia. Why aren't you letting me attack you?
I just want Finland to live in constant fear of annihilation and be unable to prevent an attack that may or may not happen. Is that so much to ask?
Like an abuser that is threatening with violence if you tell the police.
Russia is a grease and beer-stained wife-beater turned into a country.
Reminder that Russia decriminalized wife beating, domestic assault for those who like arguing semantics, as long as you don't maim or kill her.
I think it requires hospitalization to be illegal if I remember right. You can beat the shit out of someone with your fist where they can barely move for a week but never require hospitalization.
Or alternately, if they do need medical attention, just don't take them.
Russia, where the men fall out of windows and the women fall downstairs.
And yet there are people who believe any Ukrainian would willfully be relocated to Russia.
Just like my neighbor's burglar alarm system is a threat to me.
Russia breaks into neighbor's house, second neighbor, and stalls burglar alarm. Russia. This is an outrage.
Russia warns that alarm systems are a threat to their robbing. Threatens to set fire to every house?
Fucking finally. The West is starting to understand what it means having Russia as a neighbor. They will cut off their own leg if it means they can beat you to death in order to take your stuff. Greater good is not part of the culture. It is pure kill or be killed.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.